Good morning and welcome to this beautiful day and to our UUFSD Sunday worship service. I'm Livia Walsh and I'll be your worship associate this morning. And it's my pleasure to welcome Barry McIntosh as our speaker today. So just a few reminders about our Zoom service. We're grateful that we're able to continue to have our services together and connect with each other, at least in this way, imperfect though it may be. As we would love to see everyone, we would invite you to put your videos on and perhaps open your gallery view on your screen. Or you can just switch back and forth as well from speaker to gallery view. We would love to see everybody who's attending today. Our Grand Master of Audiovisual Technology, Joe Cantrell, has muted everyone. And by the way, Joe is the one who's behind that chalice symbol on your screen. And if you have your own chalice or candle today, we invite you to have it nearby so we can all light our chalices together at the appropriate time. We begin our worship as a community of all ages, singing our gathering hymn, Love Will Guide Us, led by our wonderful Chris Lehman, and the words are on your screen. Thank you. If you're visiting today, we're so glad that you're here and hope you'll enjoy a meaningful time with us this morning. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Diego is a community drawn together by the 7 UU principles. These are principles we covenant together to affirm and live into being. The theme of our service today is forgiveness, which relates to several of our UU principles. The first principle is that we promote and affirm the dignity and worth of every person. And also our second principle, that we strive to promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. At this challenging time, we come together to affirm our commitment to each other, to this community, and to this world of which we are all a part, which reflects our seventh principle, that we are part of the interconnected web of all existence, of which we are a part. Welcome, we're really glad you're here today. We are still an active community, even in this time of COVID crisis, and there are lots of ways you can be informed about what's happening at our fellowship through our newsletter, which is an e-newsletter, and through our website, through the order of service announcements, and those announcements I'll offer you today. And if you are a visitor, we encourage you to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter and emails, by sending our office administrator, Tracy, your contact information, particularly your email address, at office@uufsd.org. That's office@uufsd.org. And though we are not physically together, our pastoral care committee is still here for you. Beginning today, there is a change, which means there won't be a pastoral listener available after our Sunday services, but rather if you are experiencing a pastoral need, please email pastoralcare@uufsd.org, and that's on your screen now. And please provide your contact information, and if you're comfortable, stating what your specific need is so that we can best respond to you. And speaking about pastoral care, I want to take this time to express our deep gratitude to our beloved Kelly Kelso. Kelly has been chairwoman of this pastoral care committee since 2014, and she's been on the committee long before that. Kelly is resigning her chairwomanship effective August 1st. Kelly is one of the most kind and compassionate people that I know, and we will dearly miss her devoted leadership. So many of you in this congregation have received Kelly's kindness and compassion in different ways as she's provided meals, transportation to medical and other appointments, and compassionately sat with you and bore witness to your suffering. Whether or not you've been a beneficiary of Kelly's giving heart, I encourage this congregation to express its gratitude to Kelly in whatever way it feels right for you. Kelly, thank you so much for serving this community with such grace. I have two announcements today. One is that Tracy, our office administrator, is on vacation, so the office is closed until August 3rd. And the second announcement, I joyfully announce that Reverend Joe Green, our new settled minister, will be arriving in San Diego on August 5th. She is officially on vacation until August 1st, after which she will be open to meeting with committees, with leadership, and with individual congregants. And you can email Rev Joe after August 1st at revjoe@uufsd.org. That information will be in the newsletter and on our website. And the first Sunday in which Rev Joe will be preaching will be September 13th. And I, for one, but I think I speak for many, are really looking forward to Rev Joe joining us and bringing her ministry to this fellowship. So if you have your chalices available to you, each Sunday, Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world light a chalice to affirm our connection with one another, to illuminate and remind us of our shared history and our commitment to our values and our faith that join us together. I can't see it. Today, may we light our chalices for all the times we fail to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all persons. When we do not affirm and promote the goal of a world community with peace, liberty, justice, and compassion for all. And when we live as though that interdependence were a personal choice rather than a fact of our existence. We ask forgiveness of one another, and we vow to begin again and again in each and every moment. We invite you now to join in singing our centering hymn, Spirit of life, followed by the recitation of the covenant. The words are on your screen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Please join in the recitation of the covenant. May love be the spirit of this congregation. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our covenant. Each week, we're reminded that we are more than a congregation of ideas and services, but also a community of people leading individual lives, experiencing both joys and sorrows. We pledge to one another our care and our compassionate support in this community. If you wish to share a joy or a sorrow today, the chat function is now on. So please, we invite you to type your joy or your sorrow into the chat box now, and I'll read some of those as they appear. Let us remember that there are always many joys and sorrows, spoken or unspoken, but that shape our togetherness. For all the joys and sorrows, spoken and unspoken, written or unwritten, let us seek comfort for ourselves and offer comfort to those who seek it by singing our chant, "Comfort Me." And the words are on your screen.
Thank you. Muted, Livia. I think it's my turn, Joe. Okay, excellent. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Our guest speaker today is talking about the power of forgiveness, and it's a wonderful topic, and it's something that I think we all have to work continuously at to really be proficient at it. I know that I certainly do. Today's story is What If Nobody Forgave by Barbara Marshman. In a land far away, a wise woman who knew a great deal about people because, she traveled from place to place, and she arrived at a very strange village. In this town, people were carrying what seemed to be great bundles on their backs, and they couldn't look around very well. They were all hunched over, and they never looked up. And as she looked closer, they seemed to be carrying their burdens around. Puzzled, the wise woman finally stopped a young fellow. My good man, I am a stranger to your land and I'm fascinated by these large bundles you all seem to carry and never put down. What is actually their purpose? Oh, these? Well, he was more like, oh, these? Answered the fellow in a matter-of-fact way. These are our grudges. Wow, that is a lot of grudges to collect at your age. Oh, they're not all mine. Most of them were passed down in my family. What? Yeah, for, generations, people have given our grudges. Like, for instance, this one way up here was my grandfather when he ran against another man for mayor in the town. He's called them a horse thief. And the other one, like, it was totally nasty. And you can see it's just very messy. And what? Wow. The stranger looked around and shook her head slowly. You all look terribly unhappy. Is there no way to get rid of these burdens? Well, we've kind of forgotten how, shifting his load a little. You see, at first we were really proud of our grudges. Tourists came from miles around, but after a few years, Grudgeville became really dreary. Nobody came, and we'd forgotten to stop holding our grudges. Said the woman. Well, I've got an idea. If you really want to let go of these grudges, I know 5 magic words that will do the trick. You do? You do? That'd be a miracle. Oh my gosh. I'll go have the mayor call everybody together. We're going to go. And off he went as fast as his grudges would allow him to move. The mayor lost no time in calling people to the village square. The mayor and the wise woman stood on a platform so they could see all of the hunched over villagers. When the people had quieted down, the mayor said, "Good people of Grudgeville, a wonderful thing has happened. A very wise stranger has come into our town, and she says that she can tell us magic words that will get rid of all of these grudges that we have carried for generations. How many of you would like to be able to straighten up, have your grudges disappeared, and look at the world in a whole new way? Let's listen." The stranger cleared her throat and spoke loudly to the gathered village. My friends, these are simple words, but some people find them very difficult to say. Yet I think you have the courage to speak them. The trick is that you must say them and really mean them from your heart. The first 2 words are, I'm sorry. Can you say them? The next 3 words are, I forgive you. Can you say that? Now, say these words to each other. There was a long pause. People kind of looked at each other, well, as best they could, carrying these heavy loads. And a low grumble from the townspeople started. First one person, then another said the words. And soon they were saying them to each other, quietly, and then louder. And would you believe it? Just as the stranger predicted, the grudges started to fall away. What joy there was in Grudgeville. People started stretching and standing tall, and the creaks and groans of generations of baggage falling to the ground made tremendous crashes. But as the din of the grudges being freed quieted, people could be heard saying, oh my gosh, look at how tall those trees have gotten. Wait, is that you, Jim? Oh my gosh, you've got such a beautiful face. It's so good to see you. There was dancing in the streets that day and rather a long line at the chiropractor's office. Even though it was a huge relief to put down the baggage of grudges, they needed continual workshops and practice to learn how to continuously let go of grudges. The woman decided that Grudgeville, now named Joytown, was exactly the place she was looking for and decided to stay and set up a mindfulness practice, teaching all of the generations the power and the freedom of forgiveness.
Thank you, Allison. Each Sunday, we collect a financial offering to help those in need and to sustain the work of this fellowship. We are here to tend to the needs of those in our congregation and to those in the broader community. Information about how to participate in our offering this morning is now on your screens. If you wish to make a one-time contribution as though the basket is passing you by, you can, or pay your pledge, please go to the UUFSD website and click on the Give Online button, or you can text to give, or use the UUFSD PayPal account shown here, or you may send in a paper check to the office. So please be sure to mark pledge if that's what you are sending. This congregation brings food and other items to the Community Resource Center in Encinitas. If you are in need of food, the CRC is here for you. If you are fortunate enough to be able to help, please take food offerings directly to the CRC and leave the items on the table in the alley behind the 2nd Street food bag. Or you can also make a financial donation at the CRC website. Our reading this morning is titled Prayer Before the Prayer by Desmond Tutu and his daughter Mafo Tutu. I want to be willing to forgive, but I dare not ask for the will to forgive in case you give it to me and I am not yet ready. And I am not yet ready. I am not yet ready for my heart to soften, not yet ready to be vulnerable again. I'm not yet ready to see that there is humanity in my tormentor's eyes, or that the ones who may have hurt me have also cried. I am not yet ready for that journey. I am not yet interested in that path. I am at the prayer before the prayer of forgiveness. Grant me the will to forgive. Grant it to me not yet, but soon. Can I even form the words, forgive me? Dare I even look? Do I dare see the hurt that I have caused? I can glimpse at all the shattered pieces of that fragile thing, that soul trying to rise on the broken wings of hope, but only out of the corner of my eye. I am afraid of it, and I am afraid to see. How can I not be afraid to say, forgive me? Is there a place where we can meet, you and I? The place in the middle where we straddle the lines? Where you are right and I am right too? Where we are both wrong and wronged? Can we meet there and look for the path and look for the place where the path begins, the path that ends when we forgive? Please join now in a time of silence for meditation, reflection, or prayer, or perhaps contemplation on forgiveness in whatever way that is meaningful to you. To enter the silence, let us begin by singing our chant, and then our time of silence will end with the sound of the bell.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in,
is my pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, Barry McIntosh. Barry came known to me through our former UUFSD member and dear friend, Roger Harmon, as well as my husband, Irv Himmelblau, who met Barry at the New Mexico Men's Wellness Retreats. Barry's been a part of that organization for more than 20 years. Barry's been happily married to Karen for over 40 years and is the father of 2 adult daughters and 5 grandchildren. He has spent many years in the corporate world as director and company trainer, and then went into teaching and public speaking. He is a parent effectiveness trainer. He is one of the few trained male doulas in this country, and a male doula, or rather a doula, is someone who assists in childbirth. Barry was in charge of education at Planned Parenthood in Santa Fe and delivered a sex education curriculum that he and his wife developed for the Santa Fe public schools. Barry founded Young Fathers of Santa Fe over 10 years ago, which has now been renamed Fathers New Mexico. He is involved in many community activities and is seen as a male involvement expert. Barry has spoken Barry has spoken and given keynote presentations at health and wellness conferences and delivered commencement speeches. Barry also leads workshops on parenting, healing men's wounds, how to work with young men and fathers, and how to have effective communication for couples, families, and communities. Welcome, Barry.
Thank you so much, Livia. Very appreciate that lovely introduction. I hope I can live up to it. My talk is called From Love to Hate and Back Again, The Power of Forgiveness. But before I begin, I just want to let everyone know that I will be talking about a little bit about child sexual abuse. I'm not going to go into details, as I know that that might be a trigger for some, but it's really about the journey after that and where we have come, both my daughter and my family. So I always knew, even before I was planning to have children, even before I was married, that my children were going to teach me everything I needed to know about love. I just didn't know how they were going to do that. So after 43 years of marriage to an amazing woman with 2 incredible daughters, now 41 and 39, I look back with pride and admiration and immense gratitude on the journey that we've taken. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back. When my first daughter was born, it was obviously huge for me. My wife is a labor and delivery nurse, a midwife, and a childbirth expert and a nurse. So I thought that she knew everything that she needed to know about childbirth, so I didn't really need to prepare very much. Well, when my wife did deliver, it was a difficult delivery for her, and she was very uncomfortable immediately after the birth. So I was given the child first to hold. I was delighted by this. And as I'm holding my child, welcoming her into the world just a few minutes after her birth, and she's looking up at me, I'm changing. I'm becoming a different person. She's staring at me with those baby eyes, those baby stare that just doesn't change. And I'm staring up at her. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm the most important man on the face of the earth to this child. What a gift she's given me, even just after a few minutes on being on this planet. Nobody's made me feel like that before. So I decided then that I better pay very, very close attention to this child. If that's the gift that she's giving me right now, what other gifts is she going to give me throughout our lives together? My wife at this time is watching us from the hospital bed right next to us. And she said that neither of us blinked for half an hour. And then she said, I want that with our next baby. I go, come on, you've only just done delivering this one. You're thinking about the next one? She said, yes, I want that with the next one. And sure enough, she did. And they have a close bond. But my first daughter and I have a very close bond ourselves. So 6 years later, in 1984, we're living in a beach town by LA. And I receive a letter from the local police department saying that they were investigating a preschool that my daughter had attended a few years before. And they were investigating that preschool because there had been accusations of child sexual abuse. We had been anticipating this letter since some of our friends, their children had also attended the school and they had gotten this letter too. We were thinking that we had avoided it because our daughter hadn't been there as long as our friends' children had, but we still got the letter. And they recommended seeing an organization in LA, and we took our daughter up there. And she was interviewed by a couple of wonderful angels, therapists. And the therapists came out after interviewing our daughter, videotaping our daughter, and said that sure enough, she had disclosed that she had been abused. My wife falls apart, and she has to be comforted by one of those therapists, counselor there. And the other therapist said, okay, Barry, now we need you to do something. We need you to come into the room with your daughter and watch this videotape with us. Your daughter needs to know that the things that she might well have been threatened with, that she could never ever get another hug if she told anybody about this, that she could never possibly be loved ever again if she told anybody about this. We need to prove to her that these aren't true. And I go, I would be honored and privileged to be able to do that for my daughter. So we go back there and I'm holding her in my arms and I'm watching the videotape, but she's not. She's looking straight at me. She wants to see my reaction. And I didn't know that I could love my daughter any more than I already did. But I loved her so much at that point, and I wanted to protect her and let her know that she was loved and cared for, and that it was all okay. And she saw that in my face and my actions. And that was the first day of her recovery. And I'm very thankful for that. But it wasn't the first day of our recovery. It was the first day of our descent into hell. And we did descend into hell. We got her a lot of help. We made sure that she was seeing a therapist, that she was being supported. We made sure that she knew that we loved her, that we protected her, that we embraced her both physically and emotionally. And even though she regressed initially, she started to recover and started to live her life as a child. On the other hand, we did not. My wife and I tried to do very positive things. We had a support group with other parents, and we tried to put that into action. We did some media. We tried to change some laws. We tried to raise awareness. But every time we came back to our home and we put our children to bed, my wife and I would sit up late and think of revenge, think of tortures. And it got ugly. It got really horrible. And it was all consuming. It just took over our lives. And we were filled with hate and revenge. We knew that we needed help. So we joined a therapy group, which was run by this wonderful woman. And there were other parents that had experienced their children in the same preschool there. But it wasn't exclusively that, there were other people there as well. And this continued for a few weeks and many sessions. And it was helpful, it was good, but I was still consumed. And it was hurting me. I just couldn't be this person full of hate when I wanted to be this wonderful father, this wonderful husband, and this man that wasn't filled with hate. I knew that that was not me, but I didn't know what I could do. So one day at the session, and we would always start these groups in meditation, I went into meditation and I just asked the question. And I don't know who I was asking it to. I don't have any strong religious beliefs, but I just asked this question: what do I need to do to get rid of this hate, to be the loving person that I know I am? And bam, out of nowhere, immediately, the word came, forgive. And it shocked me. I thought, what? Forgive? You've got to be kidding me. But I thought about it, and I realized that was exactly what I had to do. I had to forgive. I knew that that was the answer. So when I came out of meditation, I told the rest of the group what I'd experienced. And I got a lot of pushback. There were some people that did not think that this was okay. But I said, this is what I have to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will do it. So I looked to see how I could do that. Some of the things I was doing, like the positive action, the media, I was good at doing interviews, radio, TV. I was interviewed by Mike Wallace, Geraldo, just trying to raise consciousness about child sexual abuse, because this was a real landmark case and it got some media, quite a bit of media attention around the world, in fact. And we changed some laws. And we did some very, very positive things. And I did that with renewed energy. But I also needed to forgive the people that did this to my child. And one of the things that we learned, we became experts at this. My wife is a fantastic researcher. She did a lot of research on child sexual abuse, and we became very, very well educated on this. And one of the things that we figured out, or we understood, was that sometimes people that have been abused, if they don't get healed, if they don't heal themselves, they can become abusers themselves. And we realized that the person that had done most of this abuse had probably been abused themselves and was in a family of abusers and probably had no other option that they could see to heal themselves, to get their needs met. And this is how they did it. Horrible as that is, there was an understanding, there was a compassion. And I realized that's one of UU's principles: compassion and understanding. So I did understand this, even though it sounds crazy. Now, I didn't want to forget, and I wanted justice. And I know that that's another UU principle, justice. I wanted justice because I wanted other children to be protected from these people. But I also knew that I had to forgive and keep forgiving for me to move on and for me to be that person that I was. I'm reminded of a quote by Thich Nhat Hanh, and you probably know this. Hate is like taking poison, but expecting the other person to suffer. And I realized that's what I'd been doing. I'd been taking poison and I was suffering, but not the other person. So that was a reminder of me that I need to get rid of this, to integrate that forgiveness. So we moved on, or we were continuing to move on. And as I said, we learned a lot about child sexual abuse. And we learned how to actually prevent it and how to empower our children. And a funny story happened with my other daughter. I was picking her up a few years later. I was picking her up from a trusted daycare run by a very, very good friend of ours. And I went and picked her up. And one of the helpers said, "Oh, Barry, we had a problem with your child today." Well, with my experiences, my mind went to the wrong place. And I realized that I needed to take a deep breath and understand what this problem was. And they said, "Okay, so what happened?" She said, "Well, I was playing with your daughter and I was tickling her." And she suddenly said, "Stop. It's my body and you're not allowed to touch it." I went, no problem. That's exactly what I've been teaching her. And I'm so delighted that she's able to share this or tell an adult that she's not allowed to touch her. This is fantastic. I'm so proud of her. And the woman said, we've never had a child this young say that to us. I said, well, that's what I've been teaching her. And I'm pleased that she was able to do that. And maybe we should teach the other parents that you have children in your daycare about how to do this. And that's something that we have actually been doing. So my wife, years later, ran a daycare at a local high school in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And she started this daycare and she was working with mothers that had their children in school. Santa Fe in New Mexico has one of the highest instances of teenage pregnancy in the nation. And the US has one of the highest instances of teenage pregnancy in the world. So this was kind of ground zero. So she was constructing a daycare that was safe, that was transparent, that the girls were involved in, and they learned a lot. And she, from my wife's experience, could tell these young mothers how to identify daycares once they graduated from high school, how to identify healthy daycares and to look for those red flags. And they became educated. We didn't go into a lot of the details on why we were doing this. We just knew that we could share that. Also, my wife and I wrote the sex ed curriculum, and I delivered it in the schools there. So we had a lot of information that came to us through this. So much so that my daughter, my eldest daughter, who had been at the preschool, in her senior year at the same high school, was in a Psychology 101 class. And she was being taught. And one of the topics was false memory syndrome, planted memory. And this was a concept that sometimes children will think that they've been abused, but in fact, this has been a planted memory. And this person was teaching my daughter that this particular school that she had gone to, because it was such a high profile case, was a great example of this planted memory of false memory syndrome. And my daughter shook her head. No. So she kept quiet during the lesson. But at the end of the lesson, she asked the teacher if she could have a word with them. And they said yes. And she went up and said, you talked about this school. I went to this school. I know exactly what happened. And that sexual abuse was true. And it happened to me. And don't you ever tell anybody else, ever, that this was false, because it was not. And you don't know what you're talking about, and I do. Do you understand? And the teacher was taken aback and said yes. And I was so proud of my daughter. She is an empowered young woman, and she still is, and she's still teaching me stuff. So that's not the end of the story, though. On election night, 2016, we probably all remember that, my wife got a phone call. She had been diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, a very aggressive form of breast cancer. Now, my wife, as I said, good researcher, nurse, delved into this headfirst. A lot of information, knows Western medicine, but also embraces alternative medicine as well. And wanted to do a lot of things in concert with each other. And wanted to get an alternative doctor to work with. And she discovered a naturopath in San Marcos. And we went to see him. And he had lost his wife to breast cancer earlier, a few years earlier, and had really dedicated himself to working with women that had breast cancer to help them on their healing journey. And we had an interview with him. And at the end of the interview, he said, now I want you to think about a time maybe 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, an instance where you had not forgiven yourself because sometimes forgiveness manifests itself in breast cancer. And this is what he has found over the years. And my wife's saying, no, I don't think I can think of anything that I haven't forgiven myself for. I'm kind of thinking incredulously because I can think of something. And we finished the interview and we're driving home and I'm talking to her and I said, really? You can't think of anything? She says, no. I said, well, what about the preschool? She goes, oh yes. When I had been doing my recovery, forgiveness, she'd been doing that too, but the one person that she hadn't forgiven was herself. So she had to do a lot of work on forgiving herself for sending our child to that school. And she did. She did a lot of work. And at the end of 2017, after a lot of treatments, both Western and alternative, she was diagnosed as being cancer-free. And she's now in her 3rd year of being cancer-free. So forgiveness is still working very much in our lives. And it's not a destination, it is a journey. And we are still very much on that journey. So we now come to this place, and part of my forgiveness journey is to share this story, to share this experience. This helps me to process. So thank you for the opportunity. But I'm also wanting to share this with other people. So if you know of anybody or any organizations, any congregations, any groups that would benefit from hearing this story, I would be happy to share this. And please get in touch with me. My email is barrymcintosh@me.com. And I will be happy to share this with anyone. You can contact me. Happy to share this with anybody that would want to hear it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barry. That was such a touching sharing. Really beautiful. Our special music is titled My Father, which is certainly relevant to what Barry has shared with us today. And it's performed by the Four Bitchin' Babes.
My father was Irish and sad went as deep as the humor he had. From time to time his temper was bad, but I know where it all started. My father was left as a boy by his own father, who knew such little joy, who drank to be healed, who drank to destroy his own life so broken-hearted. Fathers and husbands, sons, brothers and priests, monks draped in saffron, all burdened as beasts. So many are starving, so few get to feast. At the table they all help to prosper. My father lived most his life with a wife and 9 children, his anchors, his kites, till one day the sand gripped a little too tight, and he swiftly but dearly departed. Oh, let us love men and hold them like while the world burns around them, still screaming for things, and help them back to the center of the ring, back to where it all started.
Wow. Our closing words are an excerpt from the writings of UU minister Rolf Gerhardt. Let there always be in the seasons of our lives a time of forgiveness, for such is being human, that we do unto others as they do unto us that which needs to be forgiven. When we respond to hurt by hurting, to insult by insulting, to indignity by degrading, when we respond in kind, are we not merely adding hate and darkness to a world that so needs love and light? Are we not keeping open the wound in ourselves by inflicting wounds in others? To heal, we must forgive. Let us forgive those who wrong us and do not know any better, and those who wrong us and know well what they do. Let us forgive the insensitive and the angry, the deceitful and the exploitative, the arrogant and the insecure. Let us forgive all who do not want peace in this world. Let us forgive all who do not wish to be forgiven. And let us forgive ourselves, for it is with ourselves that we are often the most unforgiving. Let us, in the spirit of forgiveness, gather all that we can of strength and insight, compassion, kindness, and love, and purify our hearts and minds, that the spirit of forgiveness may shape the days of our lives, beginning with this moment. As we move to the close of this worship service, may we invoke the spirit, the insights, and the ideals of this service and this community by singing our closing hymn, There is More Love Somewhere. The words are on your screen.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more
who've extinguished our chalice this morning and recited our words, we invite you to listen to our postlude, which is Van Morrison's song, Did Ye Get Healed? And after the postlude, the chat function will open again for a few minutes so you can connect with each other while Joe is organizing the breakout rooms, which we invite you to join for a virtual coffee hour and connection. Please join me now in reciting our words to extinguish our chalices. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Did you get it down in your soul? I wanna know, did you get the feeling? Where did the feeling go? Up down on the spirit knows me. I can do really what was there. So many ways. Every day I want to talk about it and walk about it. Every day I want to be closer. I want to know that you get the feel, that you get it down in your soul. Get the feeling. Oh, did you get healed? I began to realize magic in my life. See it manifesting on so many ways. Get the feel. Why you got it down in your soul? Oh, make you feel cold. Oh, make you feel whole. Let the spirit move you. Every morning, let the break of day. Let you get